The term empath has been thrown around YouTube wildly in recent times. So here I am trying to offer a new perspective on the topic yet again. Did you ask for this video? No. Should you watch it anyway? Absolutely, because you might need to hear this stuff as much as I did. I just quickly want to thank you guys so very much because we've just crossed 200 subscribers on this channel. That is absolutely huge to me because it means my content appealed to over 200 of you people. I don't even know that many people IRL, let alone online. So thank you so much for subscribing and liking and commenting and showing me support in all the wonderful ways that you guys show me support in. It honestly means the whole wide world to me, so thank you. Okay, sappiness aside, today I kind of want to talk to you about something a little bit different. Today I want to dive into the topic of empathy. Now, the term empath has been heavily misrepresented and widely used as an excuse for poor judgment. So let's take a moment today to look at what it really means to be an empath, what the real drawbacks are, and also why being an empath is actually a superpower. Plus, I want to share with you one key skill that everyone who is an empath, hell, everyone who is a grown adult should learn because it makes life 100 times easier. So sit back, grab a cup of something warm or cold, don't let me tell you what to do, I'm not your real dad. And let's dive into the wonderful world of empaths. Yes, that was a dig at someone. I'm not sorry.
As with every video, there will be a speed painting in the background, and the finished painting is, of course, available on my Patreon. Here's the thing, I am not an empath. No, don't click away just yet, this is actually a good thing for us. It means that I can offer an unbiased perspective on the issue. I am not an empath, but I do have empathic tendencies. So do you, so does everyone around us. And that's good because it helps us relate to society as a whole beyond just the primitive call of survival instinct. Our ability to empathize is a huge part of what makes us human. That said though, it appears that I'm a homing beacon for empaths everywhere. My mum is an empath and so is one of my best friends. I can't tell you how many empaths I've met, and trust me when I say I could never do what they do. But let's take it a step back. What even is an empath? Empathy is defined as the ability to understand the experiences and feelings of others outside of your own perspective. In other words, you're able to pretty much put yourself in the shoes of another and experience life from their perspective. An empath is someone who normally functions from this state of empathy. Empaths have a natural affinity towards understanding other people's points of view so deeply as if it were their own point of view, which is what makes them excellent negotiators. But like everything in life, when things are unbalanced, even a good thing can become a curse. In the case of a pathologically empathic person, their empathic tendencies cloud not only their rational judgment, but also their sense of identity. Here's some signs you may see in yourself if your empathic tendencies are out of whack. Altruism, aka putting everyone else in the world before yourself. Altruism is heavily romanticized by the corporate world, and personally, I believe it is to make you feel guilty for not being basically a slave to capitalism. But that's another topic for another day. I strongly believe that altruism can only hurt you. It has never really been a gift to anyone at all. Because while it is nice to do charity work and help others selflessly, you simply cannot give what you don't have yourself. In fact, another sign is that you will often feel guilty for doing anything for yourself. And while I don't consider myself an empath, I do have this tendency. I think the last time I bought new makeup was over a year ago. Yeah, I'm not kidding. The foundation I wore today on this video is like 3 years old. Don't come for me, it is the only thing that doesn't cause my skin to self-destruct. But anyway, if you feel guilty for even buying yourself basic necessities, let alone nice things, chances are you're working from an unbalanced empathic space. Why? Because how can you have something nice while there are people in the world that are struggling? That's the kind of thought pattern that keeps churning in your head, right? Here's another one. Do you surround yourself with people who constantly use you as a doormat? Like, there is some bat signal that you unconsciously put out that attracts shitty people to you. Ask yourself, do the majority of your friends dump their issues onto you, knowing that you will deal with it for them? More importantly, do you know certain people who, after you've spent some time with them, you come away feeling absolutely exhausted? Yep, that's an energy vampire, and empaths are ripe, juicy targets for them. But while that's other people using empaths for their own selfish agenda, here's the absolute cherry on top, hit you in the face kicker. Empaths often use themselves for their own ego trips. If you've spoken to an empath, chances are they've said the words "I'm an empath" as a shield to deflect criticism. A certain YouTuber comes to mind. Even worse, others might use it as an excuse to not grow as a person. Because guess what? It's a lot easier to say "I'm an empath, I can't help it" than to consciously select who is allowed into your life and who isn't. Is that a bit harsh? I wouldn't know, I'm not an empath. But here's the one extremely important skill, a literal life hack, that you need to learn if you're going to survive as an empath or just an emotionally balanced adult in this loud, flashy world. I told you this was now a life hacks channel. Okay, so here is the big secret. Learn how to cut people out of your life. I'm talking cold turkey, no emotional goodbyes, straight up blocked and deleted levels of cutting people out. Personally, this used to scare the holy hell out of me. I was conditioned to be a loner, so when people did show me a modicum of affection, I'd immediately start planning the rest of our lives together. Romantic or platonic, didn't matter. They were going to stay in my life forever. Because if someone even looked remotely in my direction, they were obviously a soulmate sent by the angels. So, as someone with very few real relationships, of course it is still emotionally taxing to cut people out because there are so few real relationships in my life to begin with. But as I mentioned before, this is a skill. And that means the more you practice it, the better you'll get at it, and the easier it will become for you to cut the toxic people out of your life. The reason we can't cut people out willy-nilly is because we are afraid of doing it. So let's start by addressing this fear head on. Okay, what's the worst that will happen if you were to cut someone out of your life? Let's see, they could end up hating you. But wait, they only keep you around so that they can walk all over you and use you as a dump for all their problems. Does that sound like love in any way, shape or form? Isn't it true that if they only use you for their selfish purposes, that on some level they already hate you? So I guess cutting them out wouldn't really change much now, would it? Because they already hate you and you're still alive. I'm sure you'd still live if they hated you from a distance instead of hating you up close and personal. As empaths, your number one fear is probably that if you stop letting people use you as a doormat, they won't want to be your friends anymore. But ask yourself, is that really how you define friendship? Because a good friend would seek balance in any relationship, always 50-50 and equal give and take. Truth is, your inner circle has a huge impact on who you are. I'm sure you've heard that saying that every person is a combination of the 5 people that they are closest to. This is your inner circle. If you surround yourself with awful people, guess what? You're going to turn into an awful person yourself. And as an empath, I know you can already imagine what your victims would feel like were you to treat them the way that you allow yourself to be treated. Your inner circle is always 100% within your control, especially as a grown adult. You need to be extremely protective of whom you allow into this space. I'm not just saying that to be poetic, this is 100% real. For the rest of your life, you need to guard your inner circle with everything you have. I myself put a huge amount of effort to be very, very selective of whom I allow into my own inner circle. And trust me when I tell you, there are some absolutely fantastic people out there who will not only want an equal give and take type of friendship, they will also want to invest a lot of time and energy into how you can both grow together. But in order to get to those wonderful unicorn people, you first have to wade through and cut out all the BS from the energy leeches. You have to create space for these amazing people to come into your life, or they never will. If the tickets to your inner circle are sold out, how on earth are you going to attract new audiences, right? So how do you let go of the paralyzing fear of loneliness and actually become brave enough to cut people out? Well, you do it indirectly by giving your brain a new incentive. This is a process I like to call fake superstitions. Here's the thing, your emotional mind doesn't really know what is true and what isn't. It only knows what feels good and what doesn't. And while this is often used to manipulate us into doing and buying certain things, we can also harness this power to unlearn certain bad habits. Here's how it works. Think of something you want really, really badly. Say for instance, you want a Lamborghini that is like one of your biggest goals, and you're trying to cut out a toxic friend, but they keep reeling you back in. You can make up a fake superstition that goes something like this. Every time I speak to, hang out with, or even text this toxic person, my dream Lambo takes another step away from me. Every time I consciously cut this person out, that beast of a machine takes one step closer to me. Is this true? I don't know, maybe it is. The way manifestation works, it is all about the energy you project, and simultaneously cutting out toxic people and attracting your Lambo is gonna pay off one way or another. The point is, your emotional mind doesn't know whether it's true or not. But if you keep feeding it this helpful line, it will eventually come to accept it as a fact. And before you know it, your love for that Lambo has way overshadowed your fear of losing that toxic person. At the end of the day, they'll still be a bad person, but you get to drive away from them in record time. So who's the real loser here? Fake superstitions work for all sorts of things, by the way. I suffer from this thing called dermatillomania, which is an anxiety disorder where you pick at your skin. And some days it is extremely bad and leaves me with so many scars, but I've tried using fake superstitions, and when I tell you nothing else has worked this well, I'm completely serious. I say to my subconscious mind, every time I pick at my skin, my walk-in closet full of Givenchy and YSL and Louboutins takes a step further away from me. Every time I resist the urge to pick at my skin, that closet full of luxury clothes comes ever closer to me. And now my skin is way healthier, and I found that I'm able to consciously catch myself before I even start to pick at my skin. Another one of my faves is one I heard on Duchess Divinity's channel. She does tarot card readings and such, but she had this one video and she was talking about F-boys and F-girls, and she said this quote that was something like, "Every time a man disappoints me, I get prettier." How freaking powerful is that? 10 out of 10. I will definitely be using that one too, though not specific to men. Just every time someone disappoints me, I get prettier. How powerful. Amazing. And that, my friends, is how you use your overly active emotional mind as an asset instead of seeing it as a liability. As an empath, you have the extraordinary gift to change perspectives at will, and as a result, you're able to discover people's underlying motives. So learn how to use that rather than sitting around crying about how you've got a goose that lays golden eggs and that everyone wants to use you for it. Put a price tag on that egg and sell that stuff on Etsy. Remember, empathy is a skill, not a character trait. Learn to use it, not to become it.
Okay, that was a wild one filled with many tangents, so hopefully it has all made sense. Sometimes when I'm writing the script out for these videos, my mind just zones out and my hands just type on autopilot, and now I'm too scared to go back and look at what I've actually written. So here are my thoughts on empaths. As always, I really appreciate all the likes and subscribes and comments down below and all the love that you guys show to me every single day. Thank you so much. Come find me on social media, come say hello. I think I'm on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and Patreon. That's it. Yep. Come find me there, come say hi. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I did. And I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.